Do you get overwhelmed when you watch so many videos about the different things you could be doing on your forehand? Are you supposed to be coming up and windshield wiping? Are you supposed to be going over like that? Are you supposed to be taking the racket back like this? Which one is it? Which one is it? I mean, obviously, you probably watched a couple videos where I've talked about a billion different things on the forehand, and you probably watch other people's videos. But I want to break it down to just basically one major concept. And if you understand this, this will dramatically improve your forehand and make it solid, which is the path and the racket face are all that matter. Yes, you can bolt on other things to speed that up and get the forehand to be more aggressive, but when you think about it, the path and the racket face are the only thing that matter. Now let me explain why is this so important to you. Because we hear so many different things, or a new player comes out and they have a new take back, and they have a new this, or they have a new stance that, or a new footwork this, there's always something new. And really, it's not that new. Players are figuring out different ways to use their body to swing faster, but the swing in general is always been the same, and let me explain what I'm talking about. If you look at the last 20, maybe even 30 years of tennis, what do you see as far as the swing? The racket face is here, the ball is here, the racket travels up to the ball, and it goes through the ball, and that's it. Because that's the only thing that matters when you make contact with the ball. So right before contact, the racket generally is slightly below the ball, and then it comes up to contact, and it goes through. That's it. You see variations in topspin where, let's say like a Nadal, he wants to hit more topspin, the racket's a little lower. Guess what? It's still coming up to the ball. It goes past the ball. That's it. But you're saying, Kevin, that's too simple. Like I see Roger Federer and he's doing this. But what do you see? Let's take a look at it. When you see Roger taking his racket back, he has his normal style of take back, and then he drops his racket. But then what do you see? Bingo, this fundamental move where his racket's slightly below the ball and it's coming up and through. Let's look at some other players, like Nadal. When he takes his racket back, slightly different in the take back, how he's positioning, how he's holding the grip, but then he drops the racket down, bingo, what do you see? Same thing, coming up and through. Now I know I'm leaving other things out, but I'm doing it on purpose, because when we start shaving off all the things that you could talk about with the forehand, if this isn't happening, your forehand isn't working. I mean, come on. Yes, you can use your body, that's gonna speed it up. Yes, you can maybe try to do some wrist flick, but you don't see them doing that. That's a different thing. But if you just want to have a solid forehand that works all the time, this is what has to happen. And so the reason for this video is because I think that it's very overwhelming when you're hearing like, okay, you got to get it here. But yeah, that stretches the muscles and you can release it more to swing faster. But if you swing faster and you don't get this part right, you're swinging into a disaster. Meaning that if you swing faster and you lag and snap, but the racket's above the ball, where do you think that ball's gonna go? Not where you want it. And this is why this video is so important. So you understand this fundamental thing that doesn't change, so you can start focusing on it and making sure you're achieving this. Now, there's one more element that I think that gets overlooked, because this is the simple part. The thing that gets overlooked is the bounce. Because here's the thing, most players, when they see the ball coming, they prepare it, they start their swing forward, and the ball's still coming up, and they don't have any clue of where the ball really is. So you get different results even though you're doing the same stroke. Let me explain. When the ball's coming over the net to you, if we just watch this ball for a second, and as it's coming in and I'm preparing, let's look at the bounce. Notice how the bounce was much lower than when it came in. So this is my hand here, boom, the bounce is right there. But if we don't know that and we're just swinging, oh shoot, I never hit that fundamental position I showed you where the racket's slightly under the ball. So the key here is we have to have a clue where the ball is gonna bounce. Now, there is a loophole. If you're a high level junior or we're a high level adult, and you've been playing tennis all your life, what you can tend to do is anticipate where the ball is going to be, and your racket actually doesn't drop as much and it goes almost straight through the ball if you're trying to drive through it. But for most players, you want to give yourself some time for that ball to come up to see where it is, so you can make this position. Now, why is this so different for, let's say, the pros and a recreational player, even a high level player? You'll see them let the ball come up a little bit more. Now, here's the difference. What we want to do is make sure we have margin and safety to hit the ball over the net. As we take the ball and hit it straighter, not letting the racket get under, what happens is the ball goes over that pretty flat. Now, if you have great footwork and you're balanced and you're in position, that's great. And you've been training for all your life, so this is like second nature, that's great. But for the rest of us who want to just have a solid forehand, if you simply let the ball come up So where you can recognize that your racket's under it, what that now does is allows you to have more topspin on the ball that'll add more margin and safety, which means your forehand can be more consistent. One of the biggest things I see is players taking the racket back and they start to swing as the ball's coming up like a pro, which nothing's wrong with it, but they're still on top of the ball and they can't control the racket face. And so those two things cause a crazy amount of mistakes. So a very simple drill, all I want you to do is actually drop the ball, wait for it for a split second to come up, and make sure we swing our, get our racket low and then swing up and through. Now you may be saying, Kevin, this is a super simple drill. I mean, come on, this can't work. But if I wait, I'm waiting for the ball to know I'm slightly under it. And you can see all those forehands were almost the same. Compared to, if I don't wait, that was a little bit of a miss it. If I don't wait, okay, I'm having to force it, okay, you get different results. And if you want to start being a better tennis player, what do we need? We need consistent results with the shots we're hitting. So we have to consistently wait a little bit longer for the ball to come up. Now, if the ball's already above the net, do we have to continue to let it come up, hence hitting the ball on the rise? No, we can let it come up, and now I'm gonna throw the ball down so it bounces higher, let it come up. But guess what? I already know because of the bounce, guess what? The ball's gonna be higher, meaning that I can already start. And with this understanding of the bounce and how we treat it, meaning if it's coming in deep, letting it come up, if we're gonna take it on the rise, let it come up above the net, so now I can still brush up, then we can have a more consistent forehand. So it's really simple. Just start waiting a little bit longer so you can make sure you get this fundamental feel for the ball. Now, once you do this, because I'm hearing it's like, well, this is simple, I got my take back, and my lag snap, and blah, blah, blah. Everything else gets bolted around to improve and enhance this. What do I mean? You have coaches talking about you need to create more lag and snap, which for me means you just need to relax, because what's going to happen is to start stretching the muscles so you can start using that stretch and then release into the ball. But guess what? Even as I stretch and release, it's just going to simply speed this action up. So if I'm here, it simply speeds the action up. I'm waiting, oop. So you can see how I'm letting the ball come up and everything's the same. If we're going to use our body, hence our hips and our shoulders, what's going to happen? Now, same thing. I'm simply using everything and it's bolting on around. But if you don't have that fundamental idea of making sure that the rack is doing this to this and then this, you don't have a consistent forehand. So hopefully this makes sense. Now, if you want to start learning about all those other things, you can start bolting around. I'm gonna leave a couple different videos in the description so you can go through those and learn how to take the racket back so you get more coil, how to position your body so you can start uncoiling through the ball even faster. But if you don't start here, then pretty much you're setting yourself up for failure, and I don't want that. So make sure you go watch those videos in the description. I'll leave one right here that I think you should start with, this one first. But once you understand this, it starts to open up the world, because when you understand those fundamentals that don't change, that all the pros are doing to hit the ball, and you do that first before you go through the cosmetics of how they're personalizing the shot for them, then you can have solid strokes, because it'll be your stroke, not theirs.